You would think getting a tripod would make your life easier. Too tall, too short. I couldn't figure out the adjustments for the tripod, so I got like this big boy chair. Well, actually no, this is a chair babies sit on, I guess. This is literally balancing on like
Give him two lips like roses and clover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over.
Welcome back. I was gonna wear a different t-shirt, but then in my last video, for some reason you guys like pointing out stains, and this one has like a big, I don't know if you can see it, it's like a big blotch, and that's not even a stain, it's just like my mom who did a bleaching job and it went wrong, and then she convinced me it was a tie-dye, and this is how the t-shirt originally was. But yeah, you guys seem to have a problem with that kind of stuff. Be pricey about it. I've changed because you've officially made me conscious. But yeah, shit. Welcome back to the last part of a 3-part series on high school entrepreneurship. I'm well aware that this 3-part, 3-week series ended up taking 6 weeks, which is honestly just because I'm on a gap year and you'd think I have more free time, and to be fair, I do. I just picked up a lot more things. Like, my solution to having no structure was sort of just flood myself with structure. So now I have like 8 different things I've committed to. But the point is, I want to give more time to this. I want to give more time to YouTube because technically it's the intersection of filmmaking, storytelling, and also a decent amount of business, trying to understand how to grow your own channel, which are all things I love. So technically I should be a full-time YouTuber, but you know, I might get cast out by everyone I know. The point is that to help me make more videos, I would like to bring you into the process. So if you stay towards the ends, you know, I just can't speak. So if you stay towards the end of the video, I will be telling you about how you, my subscribers, can get involved in the entire video making process with me, which is as a form of an editor. So I will be describing the competition in the end, and also my Discord link is live. I finally understood how to use Discord. I had a lot of help from my subscribers, but yeah, I will be hosting a live Q&A session over there in a few days, and I also regularly answer doubts every single day related to college admissions, related to my life, related to things I like doing. So yeah, if you're interested in that, join the link below. This video is for anyone who wants to understand how to scale their own organization, scale their own initiative, whether you're in high school or in college. You've started off something, it's gaining traction, but how do you take it to the next level? And that's what this video is also about. It's also going to be about how you can try and explain the things that you've done over high school with your initiative to college, and trying to understand where you can write in your college application what you did and the ways you're supposed to do it. So with that out of the way, let's begin. The first question you're going to ask yourself is, why do I need a team? You know, why do I need to scale up my efforts? And I'd like to give you a small exercise. So take out a piece of paper and write down the key skills you need to run your business. Let's say, for example, you are running Spectroverse. You know, you're in charge of giving differently abled adults a job. Now, what are some of the key skills you might need for that? You would definitely have to have good communication skills. You would have to be cold mailing and reaching out to organizations. You would have to have some experience maybe in the NGO industry. Maybe you would have to have some website development skills because you want to create your own platform. Now, write down about these 6, 7, maybe 10 hard and soft skills down on a piece of paper and ask yourself a question. How many of these skills do you personally have right now? Now, 2 things are likely to happen. Number 1, you'll realize that some of the things you've written down, you really aren't great at. For example, I wasn't great at website development. In this case, it's extremely helpful to go get a team member. It's extremely helpful to go find someone who's more experienced in a field that you're not really that experienced in. If you're looking at your sheet of paper, there is another realization you could have, which is, I can do all of this. Now, this is where it's important to accept a simple saying. If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And the basic premise of that saying is that if you do want to achieve proper growth, you want to achieve proper scale, you want to do that with other people. And the reason for that is simple. Let's take this YouTube channel for example. I can edit the videos, I can script the videos, I can storyboard the videos, I'm acting in these videos, but would it not make the process faster if I had an editor, for example? Would it not make the process faster if someone was making the script? And it's very important for you to pick and choose what parts you'd like to outsource and give away to someone else. For example, I would always like to be the person who scripts my YouTube videos. I'd always like to be the person who comes up with the ideas. But do I have to be the person who sits down with the footage and edits it personally? Maybe not all of the time. Yes, sometimes I'd like to make a few edits, but it would be a lot quicker if I just teach someone how to edit the way I edit and then give the video to them. And that's the exact way you should think of how a business works. If you can do everything, it doesn't mean that you need to do everything. So now you've understood why you should have a team. Now the next question becomes how you should get a team. And there's one key method I'm going to be talking about, which is this idea of an ambassador program, which is this idea that if you have an organization, you can make other individuals ambassadors so that they almost become representatives of your organization. And that's exactly what I did with Spectraverse. I came up with this idea of the Spectraverse 50, which was 50 ambassadors all over the globe, which were continuing Spectraverse's efforts in their respective regions. It's very hard for me to go to a place like Singapore, for example, and say, I would like to give a differently abled adult a job over here. What's much more easier is for me to get in touch with a student in Singapore, tell them what Spectraverse is about, give them a few forms to help them understand how logistically they can take forward Spectraverse's operations, and let them carry on with operations themselves and maybe even create their own team in Singapore. And that's how you delegate and give each individual in a different region its own unit, so that you don't have to be personally responsible for everything, yet at the same time you're able to have a good oversight over what's happening in your organization. One thing I will warn you is that you have to strike this balance between two forces, and Ritesh Agarwal put it quite well when he said that you have to balance retention and acquisition. In simple words, acquisition is basically the rate you're growing at. It's the rate at which you're acquiring new assets. It's the rate at which maybe you're growing your team. And retention is sort of keeping the team that you already have in check, keeping the systems that you already have in check. And one of the mistakes I personally made with Spectraverse was that with the Spectraverse 50, 50 was too big a number to chase down because I could not manage 50 people spread over different time zones all by myself. And what you'll realize is that you don't need 50 people after working in your organization for a short period of time. It's much more efficient to have 5 people who you trust, who will get the work done, who have the same vision and motivation for your work, rather than having 50 people. This is not 50, but rather than having 50 people who you can't communicate properly with all the time, just because you aren't personally that great at managing a team yet. So right at the beginning, when you're starting to scale up your organization, don't go too quick, too fast. Take it slowly, get a team that you first trust, make that your core team, and after that start slowly expanding so that you have a structure in place to communicate with people and manage your relationships, and then slowly you can expand it outwards. Now that we've answered all of these questions, it's also important to talk about where exactly do you find people to hire? You know, if you're in high school or in college, how did you manage to connect with someone who's based all the way in, you know, either the US or Tanzania or Singapore? And the answer for that was summer programs. Whenever I'd go abroad for a summer program, whenever I'd meet people and I'd interact with them, aside from the entire coursework of the camp, I'd always talk to them about Spectraverse, and I'd talk to them about the differently abled cause I was passionate for. I'd talk to them about how I wanted to give employment opportunities to individuals with disabilities. And I'd give them the Google form and I'd say, if you're interested in joining the organization, you can always sign up. So I'd say that you should use every opportunity you get to network, to reach out to individuals and ask them whether they'd like to be a part of your organization. And at the school level and the city level and even the country level, I talk to people I know in other schools. I talk to people I know in my school. A lot of Spectraverse's original team was from my own city. I just used Instagram to talk about my company, talk about the fact that I was interested in looking for people, and a lot of people just messaged me on Instagram itself and said, hey, we really like the project you're doing. We'd like to be involved. Is there any way we can sign up? And it's at that moment that, you know, the Google form that I had prepared for Spectraverse 50 came in handy. I just sent them the link, they filled it up, and then after that we had an interview. I'm well aware that, going for a summer program abroad is not an opportunity everyone gets, so I would like to personally help you out. This community that we've created with all of these subscribers is really helpful, and they are based in different cities of India. They're also possibly based in different countries. I saw that a few of my subscribers come from UAE, about 17% of my subscribers are based in the US. So if you would like to talk to each other and network with each other, I have the Discord link below that for that purpose. And you could also DM me on Instagram as well. I try to respond to as many as I can, and I'll try to find someone in my circle who would be able to connect with you from a different country around the same age, willing to work on a project. And apart from all of that, you could also try and find communities online, whether it's Reddit, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's your school community, even your cousins. Just talk to everybody and anybody you know, and you'll eventually find someone who's willing to join a team and willing to work on a cause that they truly believe in. This brings us to the last part of the high school entrepreneurship series, which is when you've done all of this work, how can you condense it down and talk about it in a college application, for example, or how can you use it to pitch to an investor? How can you talk about your company and what you've done? And the first thing that I'd like to address is the tangibles. You need to understand your metrics of success for an organization. For example, my tangibles were the number of NGOs I'd worked with, the number of differently abled candidates I'd worked with, the number of differently abled candidates I'd personally hired, and also the number of companies I'd worked with. And you'll realize that when you're talking about your business, it's very important for you to mention these 4 tangibles, because this demonstrates how well you've done, whether it's an investor, whether it's a college application. Whenever you need to show distinction in your business, when it comes to a startup, when it comes to even a non-profit for that matter, there is no distinguished scale of success. Nobody knows that, oh, this is, amazing work. You have to tell them what your metrics of success are and then give them the numbers and then see how they react. Something that I'd personally be confused by was the fact that if you have an Olympiad student, for example, it's very easy to tell who is the best or who's done extremely well for themselves in an academic field like that or a STEM field like that, because there's always a ladder that tells you how you can climb up. But for a social entrepreneur, that ladder really doesn't exist, because everybody's forming their own organizations, everybody's trying to tackle different societal problems, and one problem isn't necessarily better than the other. So what you have to do is distinguish yourselves by the tangibles you've created. Another way to distinguish yourself is also by awards and PR, and also summer programs. The first thing, awards. I'd say awards aren't really helpful in growing your business, but they're extremely helpful in verifying the work you've done. And I'll link to a few awards that I'd personally applied to below. I'd applied to the Pradhan Mantri Bal Shakti Puraskar Award, which is for scholastics, it's for innovation, it's for social impact, it's also for sports, and it's basically a president's award for highly distinguished children in India. You just have to be a citizen of India, you have to have worked on a project, and you can check the link out below for that. I also applied to the United Nations V Award for volunteering and social entrepreneurship. I'd also applied to the Pramerica Spirit of Community Award. I'd also applied to the Global Teen Leaders Awards, and these awards essentially put a label on your organization saying this individual has achieved this much of success. It doesn't usually go a really long way in helping your organization grow, but it just gives you credibility. And summer programs work the exact same way. If you're applying to an extremely selective summer program, it's extremely good because it tells the world that for this particular topic, this individual has the right credentials. For example, for entrepreneurship, I applied to LaunchX. Now, if a university or if anybody else is looking at my application, they can tell that I've attended a selective summer program for that particular field, which means someone else has previously gone through my organization, vetted it, and then admitted me into a summer program, after which I learned even more about entrepreneurship. So it sort of becomes this reinforcing cycle which tells someone that this individual does know what they're talking about. The last tip that I would give you is that you should try and write your experiences down. Now, I didn't personally write them, I filmed my experiences, but the point is you should always try and record your experiences, because when it comes down to writing essays and recalling everything that you've done over the last 4 years, sometimes it does become a little hard to remember everything. So whether it's journal entries, whether it's pictures, whether it's videos, always keep some way for you to remind yourself of the work you've done, so that when talking about it matters the most, you don't sit there and go, who was that one person I interacted with who was speech and hearing impaired? Who was that one person who gave me this brilliant piece of advice to scale my organization? You have everything that you need right with you at all times. that brings us to the end of the 3-part high school entrepreneurship series. It was so fun to film all of this. Let me know if you'd like to see another series that I could try out. This YouTube channel is probably going to go through some form of transformation because I'd like to upload more videos. I'd like to switch up the content. Sometimes I'd like to vlog, sometimes I'd like to make a short film, sometimes I'd like to put an educational video out. So I will be taking a short break to create as much content as I can so that you don't have to wait for 3 weeks to see a video from me. But when I come back, I promise you I will have tons of interesting videos for you, tons of helpful videos for you, and just stay tuned. That brings us to the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is hiring an editor. In order for me to make more content, I would really like to have someone from my subscriber base helping me. We could collaborate on projects, we could talk about ideas, we could also talk about how we'd like to edit the video, and I'm going to be putting the Google Forms link for that in my Discord server in the main chat channel. So open Discord, open the invite, do the few initial steps that you have to sign into Discord, and then after that you can register to enter the competition to be my editor. And it's going to be completely application oriented. I want to see you send me a small video which you've edited yourself, and the best entry will win. For more details, you can go through the Google form, and best of luck. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you right after I manage to get a video together.